Hey beauties, welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another day in quarantine. For today's video, I am going to be testing out some highly rated makeup products. Now these products aren't just on trend, but they're also drugstore and very affordable, which I'm sure you guys can appreciate. Being in quarantine has made me realize the lack of drugstore dedicated videos I do here on my channel. So I figured this video would be a great way to start implementing them just a little bit more. If you guys like videos like this where I review hot new products, especially from the drugstore, definitely make sure you guys give this video a like. Also, while you're at it, make sure you comment down below what other videos and content you guys want to see from me. At this point, I'm pretty much open to anything reasonable, so definitely leave your comments down below. And with that, we are just going to get started with today's video, so let's go. I am super excited, so let's just jump into it, you guys. My brows are done and my base is laid, so we are going to start with the eyeshadow for today's look. But I do want to mention the brow pencil that I'm using today, or did use I should say. I used the Maybelline micro brow pencil and I picked mine up in the shade Deep Brown. This is an old favorite of mine, and on my hunt for highly rated makeup at the drugstore, I decided to pick this up for two reasons. One, I didn't have any other drugstore brow pencil in my collection to use for today's video, and two, I was running low on my high-end one. So we got this one. I've talked about it before. It is a dupe for the ABH Brow Wiz. So if you like that, you'll love this. And it's just an overall good pencil to use. Now for eyeshadow, I picked up one tiny little palette, but we are going to use a secondary palette that's already been in my collection for a while now, just for the shimmer shade, because I'm not crazy about the shimmer shade in this palette. This is the e.l.f. Bite Size Eyeshadow Quad, and mine is in the shade Truffles. As you guys can see, that little silver gray toned shimmer shade. It is a beautiful color. I just don't think it's the best color for me and not really what I'm going for today. So I will be using a shadow out of this NYX Happy Birthday palette. I got this a long time ago for my birthday, obviously, as a gift from Ulta. So I think I'm just going to use the green in here to create something with this palette. It is very neutral. They did have other ones. The one that I really wanted, they only had one of, and it was kind of destroyed. So I just went ahead and picked this one up. I've heard really good things about it. It's only $3. So we're going to use it today, put it to the test, and see if it's worth the $3 that you spend for it. So this palette doesn't have any names. So I'm just going to go ahead and dip into the lighter brown shade first and just kind of use that as like my transitional color in my crease. And I'm just going to buff this in. And right off bat, you guys can see this palette has pigment. Like this first shade is very light in the pan. Well, not super light, but it's not a bone colored shadow, but it's not deep and dark either, but it really has a lot of color to it. It does pull a little bit cool toned, but that's fine. I am gonna work this shadow in my crease and just blend it all around. I am using a Morphe M441 to just blend this out. I really love this blending brush just to like really blend shadows out, especially like blowing them out in my crease. I don't know, it just something about this brush, it really blends everything nicely. I am gonna take this clean blending brush. This is the JH33, and I'm just gonna use this just to clean up the edges a little bit and just make it a little cleaner. Now I'm gonna take the darker brown in the palette, and I'm gonna first use, this is the JH35 brush. I'm gonna first use this just to tap the color on the outer corner of my eye, and then I'll go back in with that M441 just to blend everything out. I'm really glad I only went in with a little bit. That way I could just slowly build it up, because as you guys can see, these shadows are definitely packing a punch. I mean, for $3, you cannot be mad. Like, you get your money's worth for sure with this palette. So I'm just gonna focus and concentrate this on my outer corner and just, again, just slowly building it up, going back and forth between the two brushes until I get the intensity that, you know, I want. So when it's all said and done, this is kind of what I have now, and this is what it should look like. The pigmentation on this is phenomenal. I really do love this little bite-sized eyeshadow palette. I'm definitely gonna have to go out and get more. Hopefully they have the one that I really wanted. Hopefully they have more in stock of that, but it's a slight chance that they won't just because of everything that's going on, but one can only wish and hope. If not, maybe like Rite Aid or CVS. But that's the eyeshadow palette. Now we're gonna move on to the next one. Instead of using like a flat dense brush like this one, I'm gonna use one that's a little bit more fluffier because I don't want that super defined cut crease kind of look. I want it to just look seamless and blended and not so perfectly cut, if that makes sense. So I'm just gonna dip into here, grab a little bit of the green, and I'm gonna pack it on lightly. I'm not gonna spray my brush at first. I might spray it just a little bit in a second, but I think so far I like the way it looks without spraying it. So I'm just gonna pack this on. Now that we have that green shadow laid, I'm gonna go back into the dark brown, tap off my brush, and I'm just gonna re-intensify this outer corner and also kind of blend the green in with the brown so that way it's a little bit more seamless. Just kind of perfect this area. I'm gonna actually take a smaller blending brush. This is the M50. I really like this brush for like really detailed work. Just gonna blend this. Now everything doesn't look as defined as this eye. Like you can clearly see where the green shadow and brown shadow meet, as to where this one's a little bit better blended into each other. So that's kind of what I wanted. Now we're gonna move on to mascara. This is a step that I was gonna skip because I always wear false lashes. You guys know I'm still gonna wear false lashes today, but this mascara intrigued me a lot. This is the Maybelline, the Falsies Lash Lift Mascara, and the name really caught me. I'm not really sure if people have talked about this or not, but we're gonna kind of test it out today. Look at the wand. It kind of has like that hourglass figure almost. Kind of reminds me of the Better Than Sex mascara. So let's see if this is my drugstore version of that. So I'm just gonna pop a nice coat of this on my lashes. Really nice formula, we'll say that. Yeah, I really like it. It's lifting my lashes. Not that I have much to begin with, but it looks really good. So lashes are on, and they aren't drugstore, but they are the Pro Beauty Essentials 3D Faux Mink Wispies. And I picked these ones up at my local Marshall's, obviously before all of this happened. Unfortunately, they're closed at the moment, but the closest to these I would say are the new Ardell Faux Wispy line in the style Wispy. So you guys can pick that up for sure, I know, at Target. Now I'm just going to color correct. Normally I would go in with primer, but since my primer isn't a gel or cream formula, I'm gonna go ahead and color correct first and then go in with my Holy Grail powder, which is the Maybelline Fit Me. The color corrector is of course my Pixie by Petra Brightening Peach Concentrate. So I'm just gonna concentrate this product above my lip, my nose, my eyes, and anywhere else I tend to have dark spots. My skin's not doing the best at the moment, but it's not terrible. So I'm just gonna use this to kind of combat some of the darkness. I don't do this step too often, but when I do it, I do feel like my makeup comes out a little bit better. It does make a difference. It might not be a major difference, but it's a slight difference, and especially in photography. And I do want to take some photos today, even though I'm in the house. You know, the world seems to have stopped, but social media keeps going. So just covering some of that up. It didn't cover it up completely, but with foundation and concealer, that should definitely do the trick. For primer, I'm using the Wet n Wild Cucumber 3-in-1 Primer Water, and I have definitely used this on my channel before, except I was using the shade Rose. I believe it was back when, or I know for a fact actually, the first time I ever used it was back when I did my full face of Wet n Wild and I fell in love with it. So I figured it'd be okay to get this one just because it's a different like scent, and I want to see if they all work the same or if the Rose scent is the only one that I really like, if that makes sense. So we're just going to spray a little bit of this all over our face. It's definitely refreshing, it's cooling, smells good, definitely smells like cucumber. So if you guys don't like cucumber, you probably wouldn't like this, but definitely very refreshing on the face. So I'm just gonna let that sink in a little bit and then we can move on. So let's talk foundation. Now I feel like I'm late to the trend when it comes to a lot of things, as always, but this foundation I believe was launched way back in 2018, like late 2018. I could be wrong. Today I'm going to be using the photoready Candid foundation from Revlon. This is supposed to be a medium buildable coverage foundation with a natural finish, so that sounds nice. I've really been into natural finish foundations versus like full coverage, so I'm definitely interested to try this out. I am a little scared, however. Mine is in the shade 400 Macadamia. I picked this up from Rite Aid and I'm just going to test it out today and see if I like it. Now when it comes down to shade matching myself, obviously given the situation, I can't go in the store and swatch stuff. So I just kind of looked in the tube and just kind of compared it to my skin tone. So hopefully I did a good job. I'm just taking one pump and per normal, I'm just going to put this on my face. I'm just going to put it on this side first, just to kind of see what kind of coverage we have. And then I think I want to take a foundation brush. This is the Sephora Pro foundation brush, number 47. So I'm just going to use this just to see what kind of coverage we get. Normally I would use a sponge, but I felt like using, excuse me, I felt like using a foundation brush. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but it's storming outside. So I feel like this foundation is definitely medium coverage. I can still kind of see my skin peeking through a little bit, but not in a bad way. So I kind of get the natural finish effect. I want to see what it does with a sponge. So I'm going to take my beauty blender and just kind of tap over it. I'll add a little bit more. Let's see if we can build it up. Definitely buildable in my opinion. And can I say the color match is pretty doggone great? I did that. So this is with the one pump that I initially started off with. And I will say that I don't hate this foundation. I really do like the coverage and the way that it looks. Like I said, it's more of like a natural finish. Even though it claims to be medium buildable, I feel like it's on the lower scale of medium coverage, even when you do a second layer. As you guys can see with my darker spots up here, it's not really covering it, even me applying 2 layers of foundation in that area. So if my skin was in a little bit better condition, you know, no acne, blemishes or anything like that, it would be the perfect foundation to use on an everyday basis, but hopefully the concealer can cover that up. Now that the foundation is all applied, I feel like overall I really do like it, and I feel like this is definitely going to be something that I keep on my vanity just so that I see it and use it a little bit more often, because I really do actually like the finish and look of this foundation. So now for concealer, I have 2 different ones. This one I feel like everybody and their mother has talked about. This is the CoverGirl True Blend Undercover Concealer. I picked this one up in the shade Golden Natural. Again, not swatching it or anything, just kind of looking at it. I wanted to go for more of a brightening concealer, but I'm not sure how bright this is really going to be. And then I also have this e.l.f. hydrating one. This is the Hydrating Camo Concealer, and it's supposed to have a satin finish. And this one is in medium beige. So I feel like this one is going to be a little bit darker than the CoverGirl. I really don't know which one I should use at this point. Do I want hydrating or do I want matte? Because this one definitely is matte from what I've heard. So I'm going to go ahead and go in with the CoverGirl. I'm not going to use the e.l.f. one today. I'll use it for a different video. I want to use this one because I've used the e.l.f. Camo Concealer before, just the more mattifying one. So I do want to test this one out. This does give me Tarte Shape Tape vibes, so let's hope that it gives me the same quality, if not better. So I'm just going to dot this. Yeah, this one is pretty light. So I'm just going to dot a little bit underneath my eyes. Also going to take a little bit down my nose. Since it's so bright, I want to balance out the brightness. I'm going to start with a little bit, just take things slow. And I'm going to blend this out. This concealer seems to be blending out pretty easily for the most part. It's not like giving me too much of a hard time. It's definitely very matte. I really do like it. It is a little bright, but I kind of like that now because it gives my face a little bit more definition and structure. But I'm noticing as I'm blending this part out right here that you can't let this concealer sit too much. So in the future, I would probably just apply it underneath one eye, blend that out, the other eye, blend that out, so on and so forth. So final thoughts on the concealer. Do I love it? Yes. Do I love it as much as I love some other concealers? Not so much, but it is still a really good concealer and formula. However, it is very, very matte. So if you guys do not like mattifying concealers, you're definitely not going to like this one. It's not like over drying or anything, but it's just really matte looking. So if you want something a little bit more hydrating, then maybe this one might be a better fit for you. Again, I will test this out in another video. Today we're just going in with the CoverGirl. So I'm going to cream contour really quickly. I'm not going to be using anything new. I'm just going to go ahead and use my Wet n Wild. This is their contour stick, and this is in the shade Cocoa. You guys know I love this one. This one is like my favorite. I used to be obsessed with the Maybelline one. I feel like I give this story every time, but I used to be obsessed with that one. That one is also in the shade Cocoa, and I believe it was their foundation stick. But ever since I discovered this one, I've been kind of hooked on it. So we're gonna apply that really quickly, and with the power of editing. Contour is done, and so is my bottom lash line. I feel like I do that constantly here on my channel, and it's pretty boring because all I did was take the two brown shades from the top, put it at the bottom, and then for my waterline, I didn't want it to be dark since the eyes are a little bit more cool tone and dark already. I wanted to brighten up the eyes just a little bit, and I used my Holy Grail liner. This is from LA Girl. This is the Perfect Precision Lip Liner, and this is in the shade Nude. And yes, you heard me right. If you are here for the first time, I use a lip liner for my waterline. Am I the only one that uses products for other things other than what they say they're meant for? Yeah. Also, side note, I found out that they have an actual eyeliner of that same kind of shade, so I'm definitely going to pick that up. Now we're going to set, well, actually, before we set, I almost forgot, I'm going to put one more cream product on. This is the CoverGirl Clean Fresh Cream Blush. I did pick this one up in the shade Flush. I have never tried a cream blush before, so this will be the first time. Not really sure how to apply it either, so hopefully we don't ruin all this work with this. So I think what I'm going to do is put a little bit on the back of my hand. So I'm going to pick up a little bit, like just kind of like take my finger like this and then tap it onto my cheeks. Very pretty color. Let's see if we use our sponge. Now I'm just taking it directly from the sponge. Not really working. Okay, so back to the finger. Not really sure how I'm liking this. Tap it out. Seems kind of faint once I start tapping it out with my sponge. Am I doing something wrong? I really do not know how to use cream blush at all. Never used it before. But I always see people use it and it just looks so cool. But now that I'm doing it, it doesn't seem that cool to me. I mean, you get a little bit of color. I see it. Now I see it. Now that I applied it to the other cheek for whatever reason, I'm starting to see it now. Not mad at it. Just gonna tap, tap, tap. You guys see it? It's like very faint, but it's there. I feel like if you're not someone who enjoys a lot of blush, maybe this might be a good alternative for you. It is intimidating. Obviously, as you guys saw, I was intimidated, but the finish of it is actually really nice. Okay, I just want to pop in and just say I am so sorry you guys had to sit through that. Yeah, it's pretty tragic, but as you guys can see, the blush turned out nicely at the end of the day. So I hope you guys didn't mind that, but hopefully you enjoyed the rest of the video. So I think that's good. I'm not gonna go crazy with it. It's actually a lot better than what I thought. So now we're gonna set the face. I didn't buy any new setting powder because honestly I didn't find any that I liked. I do have the Makeup Revolution one that I still haven't used yet, but I'm still a little scarred from that collab powder, that yellow one. And the Makeup Revolution one that I bought is like a warm yellow kind of powder, so we're definitely not gonna use that today. So I'm just gonna go ahead and use the Wet n Wild Photo Focus powder. This is in translucent. Can I talk? This is in translucent, and you guys know I love this powder. So I'm just gonna take it on this brush and then just lightly set. I like this powder because it does like blur and just makes your skin look nice and smooth, which I really enjoy. And I haven't really been enjoying applying powder with a sponge, so that's why I'm using a brush. So I didn't pick up a setting powder, but I did pick up a pressed powder. This is the Revlon photoready pressed powder, and this is in light medium. So it just looks like this, and it has like a little mirror on it, which is nice. It also comes with a little brush, but I threw that out because I don't need it. But I'm gonna use this today on my face. I'm gonna use like a fluffy brush just to kind of press this all over my face. I'm gonna use this Kenzie one right here. Press my brush into here and then use this to set the rest of my face. This is giving me Sephora Micro Smooth Powder vibes. So as you guys know, Sephora is obviously not drugstore. So if you want an alternative to that, I think this powder might do the trick, honestly. It's very blurring and smoothing. I like it. They also have this powder in translucent as well. So if you didn't want a colored powder, you can definitely get the translucent one. I don't know if, it looks very white in the pan, which is why I kind of didn't get it and I just went for the colored option instead. But obviously I don't know how it applies, but this one I really do love, and I really feel like it's a dupe for the Sephora Micro Smooth powder, and definitely at a lower and more affordable price point. So if you're into that kind of thing, or you've been wanting to try the Sephora one but didn't really want to spend that much money on it, I definitely suggest you go pick up this Revlon photoready powder. And again, mine is in light medium, and this is what it looks like. So now that we've set our face with powder, we're gonna add some bronzer and definition back into the skin. Now this is also another product that I was gonna skip on purchasing just because I could not find the one I was initially looking for, which was the L'Oreal one that they came out with a while back. However, when I was in Target, I saw this little mini Physicians Formula butter bronzer, and this is actually in the shade Butter, which I don't own. I have Physicians Formula bronzer, it's just in a different shade obviously, and I really wanted to try this one, so we're just gonna test this little mini one out. And it does have a very nice, like, reminds me of the beach in summertime. That's how this smells. So I'm just gonna dip my brush into there, and I'm just gonna use my Morphe M405 brush to contour today. Okay, it's a nice color. It's not too dark, but it's not too light. Looking at it in the pan, you might think it was like 50-50 if it would even show up on my skin tone. And clearly it does. It's just not as dark, I guess, as the other one. So I would say that if I were a little bit more tanner, or a lot more tanner, this definitely would not pass. But because I don't have a tan right now, this definitely works for me. So I'm like barely making it. So if you're a little bit darker than me, then this probably wouldn't work for you. But the other shade that I use will definitely work. And I believe the other shade that I have is Sunset Bronze. And then I also have another one, like the The Sunset Bronze is in the palette by Whaley, which is a phenomenal palette. And then the other one is like a single one, but I don't know the shade in that one off the top of my head. But they do have deeper like shades and options for bronzers. But I think their Butter collection overall is just like a really good formula from them, and I love it. So I know we applied the cream blush, but I do want to put a little bit more on. So I'm just going to use my Milani Baked Blush in Luminoso. This one is like a cult fave, and it's definitely very much talked about, and it's very popular in the beauty community, and for good reason. So I'm just going to pop a little bit of this on, not too much. Now let's talk about highlight. So you all know, if you've been keeping up with my channel, that I've been going for more of like a subtle kind of glow from within highlight. The one I did pick up today, or when I went on my little shopping spree, definitely is not a glow from within highlight in my opinion, based off of the videos and the reviews I've seen, but I've been itching to get my hands on it, and I finally did. This is the Revlon Skinlights Prismatic Highlighter. And as you guys can see, it's super gold and stunning in the pan. So I'm just like super excited to try it. Like, just look at that. It's definitely not what I've been going for lately, but all this staying in the house, I need a little something. So let's go ahead and dig into this. I am going to use my blush brush because I do find with using a little bit more of a fluffier brush versus a more concentrated brush like this one, allows it to look like it's kind of coming from a glow from within versus like highlight sitting on your face. So we're going to use this and kind of see what kind of glow we can get out of this highlight. You guys see that? Oh my god. Wow. You guys see that? Super glowy. And I was kind of like expecting this, obviously. It's not a huge shock, but just to use it in person, it's just something different about it. It's finally time for the lips, and I'm just gonna line them real briefly with this NYX Slide On Glide On pencil. This is in the shade Sugar Glass. It's one of my favorites, and I feel like it's gonna pair up nicely with the lipstick, so I'm just using it very quickly just to line my lips. Now that our lips are lined, we can go in with our lipstick. This is the NYX Suede lipstick. This is, I believe, their newest line of lipsticks. This is matte, and mine is in the shade Dainty Daze, so I'm just gonna pop a little bit of this on to finish off the look, and super creamy, by the way. So after setting spray, this here is the finished and final look. Let me know what you guys think, as always, down below. Now, I did top off my lipstick with a little bit of the Essence lip gloss. This is their Shine 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 Wet Look lip gloss, and I believe it's only like $2.99, $3.99, one of the two, but you can purchase this on Ulta.com. So that one is a really good gloss. It's very glossy, but not sticky or tacky. It doesn't have like that yucky feeling to it. It's just very smooth, and I feel like, in my personal opinion, very comparable to the Fenty gloss bombs that she has. Now, in today's video, I tested out a couple of things, and I must say, I honestly don't feel like there's one product in here that I can say that I absolutely hated, and that's always a good thing. Now, when it comes down to the foundation, I was super skeptical to try it, and I was a little nervous, as you guys saw, but after applying it and now just looking at it, I think it's a beautiful foundation, especially for those of you who like more of like a natural finish. It's definitely that, very natural. You're not going to get full-on coverage out of it, but when my skin is cleared up completely, this is going to be so amazing for it. So I really do like it, and I also like the CoverGirl concealer in combination with the foundation. Outside of it, I'm not sure, but together I think this is a power combo, and I will continue to use the both of them together. Another standout product for me in today's video was the highlighter. This right here was phenomenal. Hello, you guys see the glow? Now, you know I'm not into that over extreme highlight anymore. I used to highlight my face like to the gods all the time. Now I like more of like a subtle highlight, kind of like that glow from within, nothing too serious. But when it comes to this one, I think my method of using it with the blush brush was like genius, because it allowed me to diffuse the product a lot more, and it wouldn't or isn't as like intense as it would be if I were to use like my normal highlighting brush. So I think that that was pretty smart on my part, because I really do like it. I also want to touch on these e.l.f. bite-size shadows. I really think this is a great concept. I feel like e.l.f. has definitely stepped up their game as far as like the quality in their products these days. It's just on another level. For $3, you really can't beat it. You can definitely create a whole entire eyeshadow look with just this one palette. Although I chose to use a different shimmer shade today just because I didn't really want this color. You can definitely create this same look, just instead of using the green that I used, use the silver like shimmer shade in here, and you'd pretty much get the same thing. These are so pigmented, and for $3, you really can't beat that. Like I said, there wasn't any product in today's video that I absolutely hated. I really loved everything and enjoyed it, and I'm glad I found some new like drugstore favorites. Revlon and CoverGirl are two brands that I don't typically shop for or in that department of the drugstore. I normally just pass them by, but I'm glad that I took the time to pick up a couple of things because I have truly found some gems. I will have all of the newer products down in the description box down below. I do feel like all the products that I used in today's video, or at least 90% of them, are very accessible even at this time, just because they're at the drugstore. Walmart, CVS, Rite Aid, those kind of places should be open at this point. However, if you can't find them in the drugstore, you can also order them online as well. So with that, I'm going to close out today's video. I don't have much else to say other than I love you guys. Continue to stay safe, and I will see you guys next time in my next video or vlog.